Hello, Valerie Shirley, and I am going to do entry number 4, manipulating the data. Okay, I am using um, the business data file staff survey to do these exercises. So the first thing that I want to do is to add up the total scores for a scale using items that make up staff satisfaction. And so to do that, I am going to go to a variable view, which I am currently in, and then I go to the transform tab and then compute variable. And from there, up comes this window, and I'm going to go ahead and reset it. It's got some information from my last exercise. Okay, the first thing that I need to do is put a name here. Pallet's book suggests that you put a capital T in front of it so that you don't mix it up with anything else. And so I put a capital T, and then I called it staff status. Okay, and after that, under type and label, I'm going to call it staff satisfaction. And there it is right there. So now I'm going to continue. Okay, the next thing that I am going to do is select the variables from my variable list and move them into my numeric expression. And so I am going to pick Q1A, Q2A, Q3A, and the way that I will do that is I select the variable, use the arrow to pull it across, and a plus sign. Select the variable, use the arrow and a plus sign. And I'm going to do this all the way up until I get to QA10, which is clear down here. And after I do QA10, I'm not going to enter a plus sign. Okay, after I do all of that, I am going to hit OK. And I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. I did this previously, and when I hit OK, you can see that I have created a new variable. Here it is, variable number 31, my T staff status. And as I come across, there is the label that I gave it. And so, very good. We compressed a lot of data into a single variable. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is check the descriptive statistics for this new variable. And so in order to do that, I'm going to go to Analyze and then Descriptive. And from there, Descriptive. And then I'm going to use the arrows to pull my variables across. And I'm going to pull over both the total staff satisfaction and the new variable I created, which is staff satisfaction. So I pull both of those over. And after that, I am going to go ahead and say, okay. But again, I've already done that. So I'm going to reset this, and let's go ahead and look and see what we've done in our output. So here we have our output, and here is the data that was compressed. Here's the computations that were put in, and the name that I called it, and the statistics that were available. Okay, this is this descriptive statistics that I just ran. And as we can see, because it's the same data, we've got the same number here. My minimum number are the same, my maximum number the same, the mean the same. Everything is exactly the same because it was the same data, but I was able to run some of it by just clicking the single variable box. All right, so after I do that, I am going to move on to exercise 3. What are the minimum and maximum scores of this new variable? Oh, I just talked about that right here. Here are my minimum and maximum scores of my new variable. And again, it's identical to the variable previously because it's the same data. All right, after we do that, I'm going to move on to exercise number 4. And this is when I'm going to check the distribution of the variable service by generating a histogram. And so I need to generate a histogram. So I'm going to go ahead and let's exit out of this. I'm going to go to Analyze, and then Descriptive, then Frequencies. And then I'm going to move. I'm going to move this bad boy out. We do not want him in right now. We just want length of service. So, I've got everything about length of service to confuse me. So do not worry. I will find length of service. Scrolling up, here we have length of service right here. Use the arrow to move it over, and I'm creating a histogram. So I need to say charts, and then under my charts, I select histogram, show the normal curve for this histogram, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And again, I've already done that. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like. All right, so pulling up my output window again. So here were this descriptive statistics that I pulled. And then here are all of the length of service listed numerically. And now we want to do this by histogram. And as we can see, we have our length of service, and we've got our histogram created, and we are supposed to check the shape. And in looking at this shape, we can see it is not a normal standard deviation. And so we needed to go to, I think it's page 98 in the Palette book. And when we go to page 98 in the Palette book, we see a series of distribution of scores and suggested transformations. And based on Palette's book, we need to do a square root transformation. So we are going to move forward with that and see if we can make it look not quite as skewed toward all of our new hires, our newer employees. Okay, so in order to create this square root transformation, we are going to go to transform. And from transform, we're going to compute variable, pardon me. And then we need to name the target variable. And this time, because we're going to go to square root, I opted to change it to square root. So let's go ahead and put that in, SQRT and service. And then in the function group, I want to make sure that I've got arithmetic selected. And then in the functions and special variables down here, I need to select square root. So here we have square root. And then we're going to use this arrow to pull it up into the numeric expression. And when we pull it up there, we can see that we've got a question mark waiting for the rest of our calculation here. And so we are now going to take from our list of variables, length of service, use the arrow to put it there, and now we've got our complete numeric expression. And we do need to go to type and label, and I am going to call that, here's the name, I called it square root. length of service. And we definitely could have put spaces in there, but I got all excited about it, so I do not have spaces. I'm content with that. After I do that, I'm going to hit continue and then OK. And of course, I'm going to get out of all of this. And this created my variable number 32. As we can see, we've got my square root of service. And as we move across, square root length of service is right here in item number 32. Now we need to create a histogram with that. And so we're going to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Frequencies, and then we are going to get the square root service variable, and it is down towards the bottom right here. We're going to move it over into the variable that we'll be making the histogram out of. And then, of course, we need to select charts, histogram, and show the normal curve on the histogram, and then finally continue. And again, I have that. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of that in my output dialog right here. So here was my histogram of my length of service. And then here is my square root length of service. I'm going to scroll past all of that. And here we have a histogram for the length of service. And now this is under a bell curve. It looks better. Most of our data fits underneath the bell curve. We have a few outliers over here. And then some of our numbers are bigger for, again, our newer employees. But we have transformed our histogram into a square root. Okay, and then making sure I did everything I wanted to do there. And we've already talked about the variable, whether or not it's normally distributed, okay? And again, some of it is, and some of it not. Okay, now what we're going to do is pretty involved, and we can do it. It's a tiny bit exciting, and I've taken copious notes for it. So we are going to do some visual binning. So I'm going to go ahead and put this. We are going to collapse the years of service variable into 3 groups using visual binning. So we start with our transform tab, and then we select visual binning. And from the visual binning menu, we select the variable that we want to bin. And that, of course, for us is going to be the length of service. Making sure that I'm saying the right stuff here. Okay, length of service, and we're going to move that over. Okay, and I am going to divide this into 3 groups. So from there, I will say continue. And I receive my visual binning options. I need to name the binned variable. And, oh, good. I was like, what did I name this? I named it as was suggested in the directions. GP for group, 3 groups, and service. Okay. And so there we have it, our binned variable. And then we've got length of service here labeled, and we want to make cut points. And we want to make cut points. We enter number 2 here for making cut points. And I'll go ahead and hit enter. Hopefully that is happening for me, but I can see that it's not. Oh, I need to click equal percentiles based on the scanned cases. That's what I want. Here's where I want my cut points. right here. And now I would say apply. And I'm wondering if it would kill me to do it again. I don't think it will be bad to do that again since it's the last exercise. And now I can see my cut points here in the projection. So I am going to say, okay. And it says, well, you've already done this. Are you sure you want to replace that? And I'm saying, yes, let's just do it. Yes, let's just do it. Okay, so here is my binning. And the way that we can tell that it took my total and binned it for me was here we had our total 471. And then we can see that we've got 3 groups. We can also see that our largest group is the group with less than 2 years of service. And then our 3 to 5 years of service is our smallest of the 3 groups. And 6+ years of service is the 145 for a total of 471. This talks about the percentiles in each group. And lastly, we were going to run a frequency. And we already did that, just like creating the histogram that we did before, but we can do it again. So I'm going to go up here to, let's see, let's put this down. We can go up here to descriptive, pardon me, to analyze and descriptive, and then frequency, go back up there. And then we want our new variable that we just created, which was the group 3. Here it is, length of service, group 3. And making sure that's where it is. I do not think so. Let me just head on up here and see somehow if it ended at the top. All right, that is it. Okay, here it is. And I'm going to go ahead and maybe I wanted to do the bend. Let me read the directions one more time. I collapse the years of service into equal percentiles, and then I'm going to run a frequency on that. So yes, this is what I want to use. I bring it over to the variables I'm looking at. I'm going to select charts, and then I'm going to select histogram and show the normal curve of histogram and continue, and then okay. And then here we have it. Underneath those 3 groups, we've created the length of service histogram for the 3 groups. So we can visually see that our greatest number of hires are our newest hires. And then moving on to our employees that have been our mid-level employees, are the ones who've been there a while, but not the longest. And that makes up our middle. And then finally, our employees that have been with us the longest. And this histogram, of course, is a visual representation of this chart. So many things happened. Whew. Thank you so much for joining me for this demonstration video, and I'll see you next time.